Hi, I'm Elizabeth Cantey, and this is another episode of Living Enlightened Every Day. Today, we're exploring what it means to really be present to what is happening right around us, right in front of us, with our families, our friends, our neighbors, in our immediate environment. What does it take to really stay present to that? Let's explore. I'm Elizabeth Cantey, and I love helping people love their life and live their passion. It's my passion. And today we're exploring what it takes to be present to the people who are right in front of us, who may need our help. They may be asking for help without asking. And what is it we can look for? How can we listen and be aware of the people around us and what they might want or need from us? As you listen or watch this video, I invite you to check in with yourself and just see how you are being, who you are being. Are you being open to new ideas, open to new possibilities? Open to a greater exploration in order to love your life and live your passion. Are you ready for that? Because how we are being is what we are creating. It is how we are seeing the world as well and hearing the world. So I invite you to be present as we explore being present in our relationships. Just a few weeks ago, I was scrolling through YouTube or Facebook, somewhere like that, and I saw a headline, and maybe it was a meme or a video, I'm not sure, but I thought it was a monk going into a graduating class, and the title was Everyone Wants to Save the World, but no one wants to help mom do the dishes. And that has been sitting with me for several weeks. Because for one, I have a 21-year-old son, and it's true. He's at that point, he's a junior in college, and he's thinking, big thoughts and big ideas. And when he comes over, he's like, "Mom, can I help you with something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I need the chairs in the back. They're getting a little mildewed. Can you help me wash them down?" He's like, "Can I help you with something else?" "Well, can you help me put some stuff in the attic? I need some stuff put up in the attic." Like, yeah, you wanna help if it's something fun or something for you that you're inspired to do, but if it's actually something I need help with, it may not be on your list. So that really struck me. No one wants to help mom with the dishes. I can relate. But it wasn't just that. A few weeks ago, I was really going through some ideas for me to be of greater service in my community, not just on Facebook or YouTube or with podcasting. It was I was looking for something a little more hands-on. And I thought of these great ideas were coming to me, some places that I had been of service to before, creating programs for seniors or creating programs actually for teens in another environment. And I would rework some of these programs and go present them and do these things. And I was working on that, recreating these programs to be of service in these communities. And as the holidays were coming up at this time, I was listening to one of my neighbors who has cancer. As we were talking, I started listening more clearly to what the conversation was. I had been listening. I knew my neighbor had cancer. I knew his wife works and because she had taken a lot of time off because of his illness, she was working much harder now coming into the holidays, and she couldn't take the time off. And I'm hearing this, and I know they only have one car, and I'm thinking to myself, how are they doing this? So I asked, how are you doing this? And they told me, oh, it's difficult sometimes, and when this happens and that happens. And I said, well, I'd be happy to take you to cancer treatment or doctor's appointments or physical therapy or whatever is going on. And I could just see the look on their faces of, really? Like, yeah, I work from home. I'm home often. They told me they had a neighbor walking the dogs, and I'm like, if that ever doesn't work out, I'm here to walk the dog. We get our dogs get along great, and I could just see this incredible relief on their face. I mean, we share dinners together and time together and go to each other's, get-togethers, things like that. So why wouldn't they ask me? But I understand that it's very hard being very independent. I am a very independent person, and it's very difficult to ask for help. I remember when my son was sick, it was very difficult to get to the point where I had to ask my family for very specific help. I needed people to help me with cooking and certain kinds of errands and certain kinds of things. When my son was sick, I found that I could not do it all and had to ask my family, who had their own busy lives and their kids and their situations that they're dealing with. I need help. How can you help me? And it's humbling, and it's the definition of family and friends is being there, not just in the good times, right? Everyone's there when there's a good time, when there's a party, when there's an event, when there's dinner, when there's a celebration. And then those are the same people we kind of forget. Those are the people that are really heartfelt. They're available to us when we are in need. And I could just sense this need, and I was a little embarrassed that I had not sensed it before, because of course we think of ourselves and we think of our peers, our friends, our family as more than capable most often. But here I was hearing and sensing this, and my offer was graciously accepted, and I was able to help those right there in front of me. And I was committed and still am to making them dinner, every once in a while. And I pretty much make dinner for myself most of the time. And so to make a dinner for two more really is no problem. It just takes a little more thinking. And the thing is, I'm vegan, and most people I know aren't. But I found these great recipes that I can make in batches that they happen to love. They eat a lot of plant-based food. So now it's just this wonderful feeling of being of service and being able to help on all these layers, walking the dog or taking my neighbor to treatments, or just cooking dinner, inviting them over when she's had a long day at work. So this was right in front of me. It had been going on for a long time, but it took me that long as I'm working on these other projects to become aware of someone who was in need right literally next door to me. And at the same time this was going on, as my heart is opening and expanding to the possibilities of being present for those right near me. And at one of our family gatherings, I was listening to my sister's mother-in-law, who's at all of our family gatherings, and she was telling me that she's no longer able to use her walker to walk around her complex, and that she doesn't have anyone other than my sister and brother-in-law to take her to lunch and dinner, and they are very, very busy with 2 careers and 2 children, and so she doesn't get out much, she doesn't walk much, she doesn't get out of her condo very often. And here I am again thinking I go to the grocery store right near her. She needs to go to the pharmacy and do errands, and she just wants that feeling of freedom and camaraderie. And so I started taking her to lunch and to run errands when she felt up to it, when the weather was great, when she felt like getting outdoors, and we could go for walks and do things that she really enjoyed. I mean, to expand her, to be able to count on more than just your immediate family, to be able to count on friends and other family members is just a huge blessing for all of us. And my joy is being with these people that I love and being able to help them do something that they love. And I am doing what I love as well. It's a love fest. And what else is there? Sometimes we have these grand ideas of, uh, helping bigger groups of people or making a bigger impression or being of greater service, when in fact there are people and situations right in front of us that could really use our help. Dr. Jane Goodall said, "It can be very simple. We can make a sad or a lonely person smile. We can make a miserable dog wag its tail or a cat purr. We can give water to a little wilting plant. We cannot solve all the problems of the world, but we can often do something about the problems that are right under our nose." So I invite you to just look around and see who needs a smile, a helping hand, or a prayer today. They could be right under your nose, literally. But here's the thing, most of us, many of us, for whatever reason, we think the ask is too big. We think the ask is too big, so we don't ask. My friend just told me of a situation where his daughter called him and said she thinks that the fan belt on her washing machine or dryer, the dryer drum belt, broke. And so she Googled it and she ordered the part and she was, watching it on YouTube, and she called her dad and she's just like, oh, I can't figure it out. I can't fix it because they don't have my exact model on YouTube. And she's like, do you think you might know what it is if I tell you, if I FaceTime you? And he's kind of listening to her doing what I did. He's listening beyond the words. And she was getting frustrated. She had done everything that she could do in a realm where she did not know what it was to do. She's not an appliance fixer. So there is a lot on YouTube, I can tell you, but I don't know that I would attempt to change a belt on my dryer. But he said, "You sound really frustrating, honey. Why don't I come over there and I'll try to help you with this?" And the relief in her face and in her voice, he said, was just palpable, that she didn't want to ask because she wanted to feel like she could do it, or maybe she should be able to do it. But isn't it nice, even if we can do it, to have someone there that we love and trust that can just even be our cheerleader? They might even say, I don't know how to do this, but hey, we'll Google it together. We'll try to figure this out together. And even that sometimes is enough to feel loved, to feel connected. And isn't that what we all want really in our lives with our friends, our families, our neighbors, our acquaintances, is to feel that sense of connection, that sense of belonging. Mm. Again, my neighbors, when they went on a trip, I thought they were just going for maybe 5 or 6 days over the holidays, and they had asked me to look in on their dog just for 2 days. They had what I thought, someone for 2 days, and then me for 2 days, and then their son coming for 2 days. Well, it turns out they were gone for 2 weeks. And I'm like the dog sitter. Everyone in my neighborhood asks me to watch their dog, and usually it's for their vacations or a long weekend when the kids are going to some event, or it's 7 to 10 days. probably max. And they were going for 2 weeks. So they felt like the ask was too big. But here's the thing. One, I dog sit everybody's dogs because my dog gets along with everybody. He thinks everybody loves him, even when they're trying to eat him. They think he's a big squirrel, but he will just roll over and try to lick them and play with them. And he wins everybody over eventually. So I dog sit everybody's dogs at my house. I'm home a lot and I can walk them and take care of them. I have a fenced yard. It's easy. When you have one dog, for me, it's having two is no problem. And sometimes I've had three. And it's the same way I felt about kids. I already had one. What's two more? Peanut butter and jelly for everyone, right? So when I found out that he was going to be alone, even for the day or two, the 2 days I was supposed to watch him, I said, I'm going to bring him over. And then I realized it was 2 weeks. I'm saying, well, he's staying over here. He's just going to be loved like family over here. And it was just such a relief for them to know that the one thing they didn't have to worry about was the dog being lonely or sad or not getting enough exercise. So, again, just kind of listening to what isn't being asked. And that's that heartfelt listening. When we are being in that place where we are completely present to someone as we're talking, even if it's at a big family gathering, even if it's at a celebration, a birthday, or a cocktail party, a dinner party, wherever we are, if we are truly present, we might hear what someone is not asking of us. And we might just be able to help them right where they are be in a better place for themselves. We might be able to help them when they're working two jobs and taking care of a sick child. We might be able to help them if they've been recently diagnosed with an illness that they weren't expecting. We might be able to help them if they are no longer able to walk or drive as they used to. We might be able to do so many things, but only if we're listening beyond that casual sense of separation. If we actually merge, we can hear what they're not saying. And when we can hear what they're not saying from an open hearted space, we find that what we are being asked to do is right in front of us. It's to love those that are already in our lives, to be available, to be of service, to be present with them. In my book, I talk about how the gift of attention is one of the greatest gifts we can ever give. Just noticing, being aware, and being present with someone is one of our greatest gifts because, as you may have noticed in many of our lives, when people are running around, they're being very busy, they're being very active, their jobs may be very pressing on them, stress and anxiety are building up, and we say things casually in a sense where we're not connected, we're not connecting. Someone says, "How are you?" We say, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm good. Everything's good. I'm just in a hurry. I got to go and run and pick up the we're just in and out. We might not even see them. We don't even know what color their hair was. If it was somebody, our waiter waiting on us at a restaurant, we don't even know what they looked like when they took our order because we're in that space. But when we just breathe into the present moment right where we are, we may find that we can do the greatest good with the simplest act of opening our hearts and our being to the people right under our noses. So I invite you this week to be present with those who are right there. Every appointment you have, every phone call, you have to listen intently to what isn't being said, what isn't being asked of you that you may be able to suggest yourself to offer from your open heart and open mind. It might just be right in front of you. Mm. It served me so well and has continued. I'm volunteering at another community organization. So, yes, there's the bigger picture in there too. And yet, there are these areas with my neighbors, my friends, my family that I can feel love, loved, and loving right where I am in my everyday situations. I hope you found this useful and insightful and transformational. This idea of being present, this idea of listening to what isn't being asked, of sensing and knowing where someone is, even though they might not be able to ask for help or communion or communication or a feeling of being loved or belonging. I invite you this week to become present to all of those moments in your life. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and you'll get all the updates of when these videos come out, and share it with a friend. Maybe they're overlooking the opportunities to love and be loved that are right in front of them. I hope this week you laugh, love, and listen with all of your heart, and you live enlightened every single day.